Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing super amazing. People, in our last lecture, we have begun with our new subchapter under SEBI regulation, that is insider trading. We have completed with our first half of the chapter in our last lecture. In today's lecture, people, we are going to complete off with the entire chapter. Okay. Not only are we going to complete off with this chapter, people, we are also going to solve past year's questions of that chapter. Number one. Number two, we are going to revise the entire second half of the chapter using mind maps. Number three, people, I'm going to tell you what are the expected questions that are going to be asked in the exam. And before we begin, people, let me tell you one more thing. One sec. Yes. Before we begin, people, let me tell you one thing. Being a CMA final student, people, you might not know how to write answers in the law exams. You might not know how to write answers in the law exam. So you don't have to worry at all, people, because I'm here to help you out. After we complete with our SEBI regulations chapter of takeover code, once you are done with SEBI regulations, I'm going to conduct one detailed lecture again of 1.5 hours, where I'm going to teach you how to write answers in the law exams, whether it is case study based questions or whether it is direct questions or whether it is those questions whose answers you don't know. I'm going to teach you how to write beautifully the answers of the three category of questions. Okay, you don't have to worry at all. Once we complete with that lecture, people, you will be thorough, you will be super confident as to how to write answers in the law exams. Right, people? And before we begin with the second half of the chapter, I'm going to teach you, I'm going to tell you the beauty of mind maps, people. Beauty of mind maps. Wait a second. Yes, people. So look at this. Just look at this. This is, people, section 186. We are going to learn in this company law. Okay. Section 186 talks about loans and investment by company. It is one of the lengthiest sections of company law. Okay. So people, if you would be learning it in a traditional manner, you might just rote learn it by flipping the pages, but during exams, it is not possible for you to memorize all the sections, to revise all the sections. You don't have enough time because sections are too long. And over here, people, over here comes the beauty of mind maps. Just look at this, people. In one page, people, in one page, the entire section 186 is completed. Okay. Normally, if you would take like 15 to 20 minutes to read and go to section 186 using mind map, the entire process will be done in just like 5 minutes. Okay, that's the beauty of mind maps, people. Okay, and that is the reason why, people, whenever I explain you any concept, I again revise you the same concept using mind maps. The reason is, before exams, you don't have time. Over there, people, mind maps works like magic. You can quickly go through all the mind maps and then just observe, people, your efficiency will improve by 10 times. Okay, you will be, every single concept will stick in your mind forever, because over here it's all the game of pictures. The moment section 186 is asked in the exam, you will know clearly that which box includes which topic. That is the beauty of mind maps. Right, people? So now, without wasting any time, let's begin. Let's continue with our subchapter of insider trading. Okay. Chalo. Let's begin. So people, in our last lecture, we understood the story of Goldman Sachs, Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway. How insider trading took place. Beautifully we understood with a story. After that, people, we covered important definition, that what is the meaning of an insider, we understood. Then, people, we understood the meaning of unpublished price sensitive information, we understood. Number 3, what is the meaning of generally available information, we understood. And number 4, people, what is the meaning of connected person, what is the meaning of deemed to be connected person, also we understood. Okay. And then, people, we understood the role of compliance officer. How important is a compliance officer for a company, also we understood. After that, people, after that, our regulations part of the chapter begins. Over there, people, we understood restrictions on communication plus trading by insiders. Still here, people, in our last lecture, we have completed. In today's lecture, people, we are going to finish off with the remaining topics. What is the meaning of trading plan? What is the meaning of disclosure of trading by the insiders? What are the obligations and responsibilities by insiders? Then, people, code of fair disclosure. If a company wants to disclose unpublished price sensitive information to the public, what is the systematic procedure in which information should be revealed so that no single person will be given a different kind of favor, right, people? Then we are going to understand code of conduct. How should the company, its insiders, have to operate in a company when they have access to UPSI? Okay. And last, people, institutional trading mechanism for prevention of insider trading. If a company wants to prevent insider trading, then what all procedures, what all systems it has to build inside a company to prevent stories like Goldman Sachs, Rajaratnam, Rajat Gupta from repeating again, right, people? And then we're going to do a quick revision. Then we'll be solving past year's question paper, and then we'll be solving question answers. Cool, people. So without wasting any time, let's begin. Okay. Chalo. Now, people, the next topic we're going to understand is trading plan. What is the meaning of trading plan? So, people, we all know that insiders are not allowed to trade in securities or shares in a company when they have access to UPSI. We know that insiders are not allowed to trade on securities when they have got inside information of a company. Now, people, does that mean that they cannot ever buy or sell shares? It is possible, okay? It is possible for them to buy and sell shares without being given favor only to them, okay? There is a situation where you can, without breaking any laws, being an insider, you can still buy and sell securities. How is that possible? We're going to understand how to lawfully, without breaking any law, being an insider, how to buy and sell securities. We're going to understand in the concept called as trading plan. Chalo, let's understand. So, people, a trading plan is a pre-decided strategy made by whom, people? Made by an insider. So, insider prepares a trading plan, okay, such as a company director, employee, or any connected person. For example, if Rajat Gupta wanted to purchase the shares of Goldman Sachs lawfully, even though he had access to UPSI, how can he still buy securities or shares without breaking any law? We're going to understand. The idea is to ensure that insiders cannot misuse UPSI while trading. You have UPSI, now you want to trade. Now, how to trade in a way without breaking any law? We're going to understand. Okay. So, it's a 4-step process. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Okay. So, how a trading plan works? Number 1, the insider, let's say Rajat Gupta prepares the trading plan and submits it to compliance officer of the company. So, the moment Rajat Gupta knows that Warren Buffett is going to invest $5 billion in Goldman Sachs, now what will Rajat Gupta do? He will now prepare a trading plan and he will submit to compliance officer. And what is the meaning of trading plan? Trading plan basically says that how many shares I want to buy, what information do I have, at what price I want to buy, when do I have to buy, every single thing in detail. It is mentioned in the trading plan. On what basis are you buying the shares of Goldman Sachs? Every single thing will be mentioned in the trading plan. Okay. The compliance officer reviews the plan to ensure it follows all insider trading regulation. Okay. Next is very important, public disclosure. Right, people? So once Rajat Gupta, insider, submits a trading plan to the compliance officer, that compliance officer just see what he does next. Once approved, the plan must be made public. The plan must be made public so that everyone knows about it. Which means what? If Rajat Gupta really wants to buy the shares of Goldman Sachs, he has to give a detailed plan to a compliance officer, and this compliance officer will not disclose it to the public as to this is the trading strategy that is going to be used by one of our company's director called as Rajat Gupta, so that every single one knows on what basis this company's director is going to buy and sell securities. Okay. Then what, people? Then immediately can you buy? No. Still, there is one more step remaining. Trading cannot begin until at least 6 months after the plan has been made publicly disclosed. Now, once Rajat Gupta has submitted the trading plan to the compliance officer, this compliance officer makes this trading plan public. Now, Rajat Gupta has to wait for 6 months after the trading plan was disclosed to the public. It's a cooling period. People will react, people will not react, right? So anything can happen. Then people, the waiting period ensures the insider is not acting on any UPSI they may currently process. Which means what? You can still buy shares and securities being an insider, provided the information on which you are buying share securities, that information is available to every single one out there to the public, right? So no one is given a different kind of favor. No one is benefited on a discriminatory basis, right, people? Next is stock exchange notification. After approval, the compliance officer informs the stock exchange where the company securities are listed about the trading plan. So once the waiting period is over, people, once the waiting period is over, the compliance officer informs the stock exchange where the company securities are listed about the trading plan. Very, very beautiful concept. Now let's again understand this using an example. Suppose a company wants to sell a part of the shareholding. Company wants to sell a part of shareholding. They must first submit a trading plan to the company's compliance officer. Okay, once the plan is approved, people, once the plan is approved and disclosed publicly, the director has to wait for how many months? 6 months before starting any sale of shares. After that, the compliance officer will notify the stock exchange, ensuring the trades follow the declared plan, thus preventing any unfair advantage or insider misuse. Now people, once the company director has submitted a trading plan to the compliance officer, this compliance officer had disclosed this to the public, he has to, now the director has to wait for 6 months cooling period. In the 6 months, public reaction will go up and down. After 6 months, everything will be normalized. After that, people, after that, the compliance officer has to submit this trading plan to the stock exchange. Why? So that this stock exchange will clearly monitor that is the director implementing or executing the trading plan as per has he promised. Is he buying or selling the shares as per or according to trading plan? So the people, otherwise what is the purpose of trading plan if you are not following the trading plan, right? So this is a 4-step process. Number 1 is you have to submit a detailed trading plan to the compliance officer for his approval. Once the compliance officer has approved, he discloses to the public that this director is going to purchase this many shares after 6 months. Now the director has to wait for 6 months. After that only he can purchase the shares again as per the trading plan. So this is how a trading plan works, people. Very easy. Okay. Now. Trading plan. So a trading plan is created by an insider. Insider means what, people? The one who has got unpublished price sensitive information. Company director or employee, he submits a trading plan to compliance officer for approval and public disclosure. Okay. Now, after approval and disclosure, plan is submitted for approval. Once plan is approved, only then it is publicly disclosed. Okay. But director has to wait for 6 months. After that, stock exchange notification. Once plan is approved, compliance officer notifies stock exchanges. That's it. So that stock exchange and everyone will monitor that is the transaction of the director as per the trading plan. As simple as that, people. Cool. Chalo. Now we are done with the trading plan. Sure. Now, let's understand. 4 topics are remaining. Disclosure of trading by insiders. Disclosure of trading by insiders. Now, people, when a company's director is purchasing shares, company's director is purchasing shares, or company's directors' relatives are purchasing shares, what all disclosures are supposed to be made by that company director, we are going to understand. Okay, people? Chalo. Hello. 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 Okay. Okay. Now comes disclosures of trading by insiders. Let's understand. Beautiful concept. Again, very, very simple also. The purpose of trading disclosure is to promote transparency and prevent misuse of UPSI by insiders or anyone influenced by them. Which means what? If Mukesh Ambani wants to resign, he cannot secretly sell all the shares of Reliance, or Neeta Ambani cannot sell all the shares of Reliance. No. There must be a proper procedure in which you can sell. Now, general provisions are there. Disclosures by certain persons are there. Okay. 2 topics. General disclosures and disclosures by certain persons. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of general disclosures? Let's understand. All insiders and their immediate relatives, which means what? Rajaratnam, Rajat Gupta and their immediate relatives and any person they influence to trade must disclose their trading activity. Which means what? Rajat Gupta, his wife, his children, or any person whom this person can influence, like Rajaratnam, has to disclose their trading activity the moment they buy or sell the company's shares or securities. Okay. Why is this happening? This ensures that no one trades based on private price sensitive information that is not available to the public. Simple logic, people. Any information that is not available to the public, you cannot trade, you cannot buy or sell securities on that information which is not available to the public. Logic is simple. You cannot be given a different kind of favor, you cannot be favored, you cannot be given undue advantage only because you are associated with the company, right? If you are associated with the company any manner, before you trade on securities, you have to disclose to the public so that public can also buy the shares, right? Why should only you be benefited? Public should also be benefited, right, people? This is the reason why this provisions has been made. So any person, the relatives or the people who have got influence on this person, they are supposed to disclose their trades to the public. Okay. Next. Now is disclosures by certain person. This is very, very specific, people. Initial disclosure, continual disclosure, disclosure by connected person. Now what is the meaning of this? Let's understand. Who needs initial disclosure? Which means what? Who are the ones who are supposed to disclose this to the first time? KMP or directors. Which means what, people? KMP means what? We are going to understand this in the company law. Okay, KMP means what? Director, whole time director, company secretary, CFO, MD, manager, CEO, they all come under KMP or any other person authorized by the board. Okay, everyone come under KMP. Now, when are they supposed to disclose their trade? We are going to understand. When they are appointed, they must disclose their holdings in the company's securities. So tomorrow, if I will be appointed as a CS in Reliance, I have to disclose how many shares I am holding of Reliance. Tomorrow, if I am going to be appointed as a KMP, like I am a CS, so if I will be tomorrow appointed as a CS in Reliance, I have to disclose this publicly. I have to disclose it to the company that the amount of shares I am holding in Reliance. Very, very simple. Okay. Next, continual disclosure, which means what? This is not initial disclosure is over. Now continuously, after a certain period of time, you have to disclose. Now what is that period? We are going to understand. Any insider, including immediate relatives. So people, this provision was only for KMP and directors, right? This is for insider and immediate relatives. Insider means what? Now people, I will tell you one thing. Not necessarily that all the insiders are KMP. Not necessarily that all the insiders are KMP. A software vendor who is working on software with the company, he might get some in UPSI. Does that mean that he is a KMP? No. So this provision is specifically for insiders and their relatives. If the value of securities traded during a quarter exceeds 10 lakhs, which means what? April, May, June. June, July, August, 3 months, 1 quarter. So, in any 3 months, if I have dealt in the securities of the company for more than or equal to 10 lakh rupees, people, the insider must disclose the transaction within 2 trading days. Which means what? If tomorrow Nita Ambani, if tomorrow, let's say, if I am CS in Reliance, if I am a CS of Jio, if, okay, let's forget that. If I am a chef of Mukesh Ambani and I get to know the UPSI, the moment I purchase the shares of Reliance, I have to immediately tell them that this is the value of transaction that I have entered into. Now the question is, when am I supposed to disclose? If my transaction exceeds the value of 10 lakh rupees throughout the year, no. Only in last quarter. Quarter means 3 months. In the last 3 months, if I have entered into a transaction where I am buying or selling Reliance securities for more than 10 lakh rupees, I have to disclose it to the Reliance. Now, when I am an insider, now if Nita Ambani, Anant Ambani, Akash Ambani, or any person who is relative of Mukesh Ambani, if that person purchases shares more than 10 lakh rupees, even those people have to disclose it to the public. So over here, this provision is for insider, including immediate relatives. Immediate relatives. If I am a chef of Mukesh Ambani and I overhear a conversation that Mukesh Ambani is going to sell Jio, if I overhear a conversation that Mukesh Ambani is going to like resign the company, that means I will become an insider based on the relationship, right, people? So second condition says that if the value of securities exceeds 10 lakh rupees in last quarter, I have to immediately disclose it to the company within how many days? Within 2 working days. Okay. Third is disclosures by connected person. Connected person includes deemed to be connected person. Let's understand. Employees, consultant, or anyone with access to UPSI must also report their trades if they deal in company securities. Right, people? So if you have UPSI and if you are in any way connected to the company, you have to disclose your transactions to the company. Very easy. Now one thing that you have to remember is where limit is clearly mentioned. Okay. Continual disclosure is applicable to any insider, including immediate relatives. Now what is the limit? If the transaction exceeds 10 lakh rupees, not in a year, transaction exceeds 10 lakh rupees in the last quarter, they have to immediately disclose it to the company. Very, very easy. Very, very easy. Now, if a director buys or sells shares worth more than 10 lakhs in a given quarter, they must inform the company within 2 days. This ensures full transparency and allows the company to report it to the stock exchange, preventing any misuse of insider information. Right, people? If you have UPSI, if you are trading, everyone should have access to that UPSI on which you are trading. That's it. Simplest as possible. Cool, people? Sure. Now let's revise this using mind map. People, if we learn using mind map, by the end of lecture, you will be thorough with the topics. Cool, people? Sure. Let's begin. Trading plan is done. Disclosure by certain person. General rule, connected person and insiders and immediate relatives. They have to disclose their trades so that there is no misuse of UPSI. Now, what is the rule for specific person? Initial disclosure. It is for KMP or directors have to disclose their securities when they are appointed. Now, continual disclosure. When value exceeds 10 lakh in a quarter, they have to disclose the transaction within 2 trading days. 2 trading days. Now, what is the meaning of trading days, people? Monday to Friday is a trading day. Monday to Friday is a trading day. That means what? If a person has entered into a transaction on Friday, Saturday, Sunday will not be counted because on Saturday, Sunday there is no trading take place. Monday, Tuesday is counted. Very, very simple, people. Chalo. People, I just hope you are like enjoying this lecture, people. Okay. If you are having fun, if you are loving this lecture, please drop all your appreciation or whatever you like about this lecture in the comment section. I would be happy to know your feedback. Okay, people? Chalo. So we are done with disclosures by trading by insiders. Now comes three of the beautiful concepts: code of fair disclosure, code of conduct, institutional trading mechanism for prevention of insider trading. And then people, we are done with the chapter. So people, so now listen to me very, very carefully. We are going to understand three topics: code of fair disclosure, code of conduct, institutional mechanism for prevention of insider trading. Now people, now when you read these topics, you might find that these topics are very, very similar to each other. These topics are very, very similar to each other. You are not able to understand the key points. Okay, the moment you have this type of confusion, I will tell you one thing. What I have done is, I have framed a question. How should a company publicly disclose price sensitive information in a fair and transparent manner? Okay, so instead of head point, people, instead of head point, I have told you the topic that we are learning. Which question or what question does this topic tries to answer? What topic or what question does this topic or a concept is trying to answer? Okay, for example, if we are studying code of fair disclosure, what exactly is this trying to answer? What exactly it is trying to answer? The question is, how should a company publicly disclose price sensitive information in a fair and transparent manner? The moment a company gets to know of UPSI, how the company has to disclose it to the public, only we are going to understand. Code of fair disclosure, so that no one is benefited in a different manner, no one is given undue advantage. To prevent such things from happening, so that everyone should have equal access to UPSI, how should the company behave in a way? How should the company disclose their information? We are going to understand. Okay, people? Super simple. Chalo, let's understand. Prompt public disclosure. What is the meaning of prompt? Means immediate. The moment a company gets to know of UPSI, the moment Goldman Sachs gets to know of Warren Buffett's $5 billion investment, immediately they have to disclose it to the public so that no insider transactions take place. As soon as the company becomes aware of credible UPSI, it must make the information available to the public. Over here, one word is very, very important, and that word is credible UPSI, which means what? Company might get a lot of information, but not all information are correct. Okay, so only those information you have to disclose to the public which are correct. Okay, people. For example, if Warren Buffett is investing $5 billion, you have to disclose it once you know that the information is absolutely correct. Cool? Sure. Next is, what is the role of investor relations officer? So basically, people, company's job is to do business. Now, do you think the one who do business, they might know the insider trading rules and regulations? No. So they might not know how to disclose this information to the public. For that purpose, company employs a investor relation officer who takes care, who is an expert in ensuring that the information that you are giving it to the public, it is disclosed in a fair and transparent manner, so that every single one has got equal access to information. Let's understand, people. The company must appoint a senior executive. A company must appoint a senior executive to manage how UPSI is being communicated to the public. Okay. So people, if Mukesh Ambani is going to a conference and if some Arnab Goswami type media reporter just ask some random question and immediately he ask a question that Mukesh Ambani becomes emotional and he just quickly answers the question. Now people, if that answer is a UPSI, do you think Mukesh Ambani has dealt with the information in a correct manner, professional manner? No. Okay. So for that purpose, people, investor relation officer is appointed by the company so that he will take care of the entire procedure as to how to disclose the price sensitive information. Let's understand. Number 3 is, people, fair response to queries. Okay, which means what, people? If one media reporter asks me that what is the amount of investment Warren Buffett is going to invest in your company, if I tell him $5 billion, next day another media person asks me what is the amount that Warren Buffett is going to invest in your company, if I tell him $10 billion, that means what? I'm giving different information to different categories of people. Is that allowed, people? It is not allowed. Company must respond fairly and accurately to analyst, media or stakeholder query. Whatever information I'm giving to this person, the same information I have to give it to every single one out there at the same time. At the same time. I cannot tell him $5 billion investment over here and $10 billion investment over there. Cool, people? Chalo. Next is avoid sharing UPSI with analyst. Companies must avoid selectively sharing UPSI with analyst or other research personnel. Which means what, people? For example, if I am Reliance company, I am a listed company. Now you might all have used Money Control, right? Money Control, Economic Times. Now Reliance is only giving information to Money Control. It is not giving information to the Economic Times. Do you think, people, it is right? No. You cannot give information to only Arnab Goswami and ignore all the reporters over there. No. Which means what? This guy might make undue advantage, might take undue advantage. So whatever information you are giving, you have to disclose in a fair, transparent and equally give access to every person out there. Okay. So companies must avoid selectively giving information to certain categories of people before it is disclosed to the public. Okay. So we all know that Warren Buffett is going to invest $5 billion in Goldman Sachs. Now before this information is public, I cannot tell this to Arnab Goswami, I cannot tell this to any YouTube channel. No, it is not allowed. Cool, people? Next, people, record keeping. Companies must maintain records or transcripts of any meetings with analyst, investor calls or public conference. So tomorrow if Mukesh Ambani goes to any public conference, whatever questions have been asked by the anchor or media reporter or PR, anyone, whoever asks question to Mukesh Ambani, he has to maintain a record as to what information that has he disclosed it to that person for future references. Tomorrow if someone says that no, Mukesh Ambani told me that I'm going to resign, but he did not resign, because of which I sold my shares and I went into losses and now I'm going to file a case against Reliance. He cannot say that. To prevent him from saying that, I have to maintain a record that in this conference I told this thing, in this YouTube podcast I told this thing, to Arnab Goswami I told $5 billion investment. So every single thing is transparent, every single thing is recorded for my future reference. Right, people? So how should a company disclose UPSI in a fair and transparent manner to the public? 5 steps. Okay. Number 1 is you have to immediately disclose it to the public as soon as you are aware of credible UPSI. Number 2 is you have to appoint an investor relation officer who is going to take care of all that. Number 3 is you have to respond in a fair manner to all the queries. You cannot give one answer to over here, another answer to over there. Next is you have to avoid sharing UPSI with the analyst before this UPSI is made public, again to avoid favorism. And last is you have to maintain all the records with the company. Very easy, people. That's it. Now let's quickly understand and revise this using mind maps. So how the information should be disclosed. Number 1, it should be promptly disclosed immediately as soon as the company becomes aware of credible UPSI it should make the information public without any delay so that everyone has got equal access. Okay. Next is you need to avoid sharing UPSI with the analyst before the information is public. Okay. Next is you have to appoint CIRO, Chief Investor Relations Officer, ensuring that information is disclosed in a consistently professional and in a transparent manner. Okay. Next is, now one more thing people, this Chief Investor Relations Officer is responsible for managing UPSI. Number one, how UPSI is to be communicated, he has got expert knowledge. Okay. Next is fair response to queries. They have to respond in a fair and accurate manner to the A means, one second people, analyst. Okay, A means analyst, A means analyst, media and other stakeholders, so that rumors and market news are verified and clear, and it is clarified in a public manner. It is clarified publicly to prevent any misinformation. Okay, so if you have to respond to queries in a fair manner so that no one is given wrong information, it should be clarified publicly. Number two is false rumor. Every single thing should no longer exist. That is the reason why people, you have to clarify every single thing right away. Cool. Now last is you have to maintain records and transcripts of the meeting by the analyst, investor calls and public conferences. That's it people. 5 points in exam. If a question is asked that how should the information be disclosed, then you have to write all these 5 points. That's it people. We are done then. Okay. Chalo. Now let's come to the next topic. People, if you have got any doubt, I know you are watching this from your mobile, laptop, tablet, whatever it is. If you have got any doubt, just pause this video, drop all your comments or all your doubts in the comment section, and in the best way possible, as soon as possible, I'm going to make sure that all your doubts are resolved. Okay. If you have some curious question, you don't have any doubt, if you even have any curious question as to why this rule has been made, what will happen if XYZ thing happen, anything if you have in mind, drop that in the comment section. Okay people, I'm going to make sure that all your queries, whatever your opinions, whatever your thinking is there, it is addressed in a fair and transparent manner. Cool people? Chalo. So let me drink a sip of water and then we'll begin with the next topic. Tomorrow we're going to begin with our next chapter under SEBI regulation, that is the takeover code, one of the beautiful chapters of SEBI regulation. Now you might say, Arey, sir, you are saying that all the 3 chapters are amazing. People, but really all the 3 chapters are super amazing. Okay, tomorrow if you are employed in a financial company, then people, the information that you are learning right now, the concepts, the regulation that you are learning right now, whether it is how to raise finance from the capital markets, or whether it is insider trading, or whether it is takeover code, these topics are people gold mine for you. This is what is going to help you in minting money, right? Chalo. Now let's begin with our next concept, that is code of conduct. Okay, now people, code of conduct. What question does this topic answers? Let's understand. How should insiders, whether it is directors, whether they are employees, whether they are KMPs, or whether they are connected person, behave while trading in company security or handling UPSI? How should they behave when they have got UPSI? Now this is what we're going to learn in this topic. Now sir, what is the difference between this and the above? People, this topic answers how the UPS should be disclosed to the public. But over here, how should KMP directors behave when they have got access to UPS? There is a thin line of difference. Cool people? Chalo. Let's begin. Number one, there are how many points? One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8. 8 points, easy points, super easy points. Let's understand. So if you want to make sure that directors or employees or KMP, they should not misuse the price sensitive information, you have to make sure that they know what they're doing is wrong or what they will be doing is wrong. How do you stop them from getting indulged in insider trading? We are going to understand now. Okay, chalo. Number one is people, formulation and administration of code of conduct, which means what? Let's understand. The CEO or the MD is responsible for creating and ensuring an adherence to the code. Number one is people, first of all, if you want to make sure that all the employees are following the rules and regulation, first you have to create those rules and then only you will try to implement them, right? First you will formulate a code of conduct that for example, if Infosys is appointing a law firm, the law firm employee should be given a proper clear notice as to if you ever get directly or indirectly access to UPSI, how should you deal with it? How if you trade in those securities while having access to UPSI, you will be penalized, you will be sent to prison. They should be clearly, it should be notified. Otherwise people will tell no, we were not informed of the consequences of insider trading, we didn't learn insider trading, then how will we know of the consequences of insider trading? People should not use such type of lame excuses. That is the reason why people, company has to make first a proper code of conduct, formulate a proper code of conduct and then they have to implement it. Okay, now who is responsible for formulating the code of conduct? CEO and MD. Next is designated persons and immediate relatives, which means for people, first of all, are you going to monitor every single employee out there, including the peon? No. Including toilet cleaner? No. First, you will identify the designated people. What is the meaning of designated people? Designated people are those who have or who might have access or who might get access to UPSI. Not necessarily he should be a director, KMP or any person. They can be deemed to be connected people. They can be connected people. Okay, in any way, if you might get access to UPSI, you are a designated person. Right people? Designated person is a very, very big position. No, it's not any position at all. It is just a way to identify that whom are we supposed to monitor. That's it people. It's not a designation. Okay. So the board in consultation with the compliance officer identifies designated persons and their immediate relatives. For example, if TCS, all the senior executives, whether in finance, strategy or legal or their family members, everyone will come under designated people who might directly or indirectly get access to UPSI. Very simple. Okay. Next is people reporting to the board. Now the compliance officer, we learned in the definition of compliance officer that compliance officer is supposed to report the trading activities of the designated people to whom? To the board of directors. So three things we understood. Number one, you will formulate and then you will ensure adherence. Adherence means making sure that people are obedient with your rules. Number two is you will first identify the designated persons and their immediate relatives. Number two. Number three is compliance officer reports to the board. Very easy. Next is trading window and pre-clearance. This is very, very important. The trading window is open when UPSI has been made public, which means what people I will tell you. Let's say ICICI Bank, now it is going to disclose its quarterly results. It is going to disclose its quarterly results. Now 15 days before the disclosure of quarterly results, March, disclosure of quarterly results. Now people, from just giving an example, people, what is the meaning of trading window? 1st March 25. So during this period, the trading window is closed. For whom? For insiders, which means what? 15 days before the quarterly results are declared, insiders cannot buy or sell the securities. This is the meaning of trading window. Now, does this mean that no one can purchase the shares 15 days before quarter results? No. It is only for the insiders. Insiders cannot buy or sell shares 15 days before quarter results. If 15 days period is mentioned by the company, then 15 days, otherwise nothing. Okay, I am just giving an example. So the trading window is open when UPSI has been made public. Once the information is made public, then anyone can trade, right? Then also this insider should also be given an opportunity to trade. Pre-clearance must be obtained for trades exceeding the threshold. Now, which means what? The moment one information is public, now the insider is purchasing humongous amount of shares, like 10 lakhs, 1 crore, 2 crores, 3 crores. Now people, if such thing happens, that insider has to get a pre-clearance approval from the compliance officer. Compliance officer will give him the approval, will give him the permission to purchase and sell the security. That is called as pre-clearance approval. Okay. Now execution of pre-cleared trades. Pre-cleared trades must be executed within 7 trading days. Which means what? The moment your pre-clearance trade has been approved, within 7 days you must execute the trade as per the plan that you have given. Okay. Next is people, record keeping and reporting. Designated persons must report trades to the company annually and whenever changes occur. Remember people, remember we understood this. Continual disclosure. Again, same thing is repeated over here also. Designated person must report trades to the company annually and whenever any changes occur. So every year you have to make disclosure. Now next is people, inside information and its use. Which means what people, company first in its policy must clearly mention that when can a person be called as an insider, on what basis a person can be called as an insider. Directors, KMP are obviously they are insiders, but can a toilet cleaner become an insider? He can also become an insider. The moment he gets UPSI, he becomes an insider, right? So what is the procedure under which a person can become an insider? The policy should mention this clearly. The process of identifying an insider should be mentioned clearly. So clear processes must be in place to identify when people are brought inside on sensitive transactions. Sensitive transaction. Which this means what people? The moment a company enters into any sensitive transaction, company should have a clear process as to when can this person be allowed to be shared this information. Okay. Clear, strict process should be in place. Okay. Otherwise, a toilet cleaner, if he is able to access this information in such a easy manner, don't you think it's going to create a lot of mess? This person will buy shares. Again, people, insider trading is going to happen, which is not in favor of the people. Right, people? Cool. Next, people, sanctions and the disciplinary actions. The policy or the code of conduct should mention clearly that if you indulge in insider trading, you will be penalized or you will be imprisoned for XYZ number of years. It should be clearly communicated. Why, people? So that people will know the repercussion, people will know the consequences, people will know how serious is insider trading, so they don't indulge in. Right, people? So we understood 8 points. Let's revise this using mind maps. So 8 points. Number 1 is formulation and administration of code of conduct. By whom people? By CEO or MD. They are responsible for creating and ensuring people are complying with the code of conduct. It is not that it is not sufficient to just formulate a code of conduct. You should also implement it. Correct? Number 2 is designated persons and immediate relatives. Board and the compliance officer must identify who can be the designated people and their immediate relatives. Number 2 is there. Number 3 is reporting to board. Who reports to the board? Compliance officer reports to the board. Now reporting plus record keeping. We know that designated people must report their trades to the company annually and whenever any changes occur. Okay. Next is people, sanctions and disciplinary action. Company should clearly define the sanctions for violation of the laws that we are studied right now. Okay, very simple people. Now comes 2 more points. Clear processes must be in place to find out when can a person be called as an insider. If a company is into a very sensitive projects, it should have a clear process as to when can a person be given a chance to hear this news. The process should be clearly defined. Okay. Next is trading window and pre-clearance. Once UPSI has been made public, if insiders wants to purchase share securities, they can purchase it. But once they exceed a certain threshold as defined by the company, the moment they exceed the threshold, they have to take approval of the compliance officer, and the compliance officer will give a pre-clearance approval, which should be executed within how many days? It should be executed within clear 7 days. Right people, so we are done with the code of conduct, that is how insiders, directors, employees, KMP or connected person behave while trading in company securities or holding UPSI. That's it people. People, this is the beauty of mind map. I would urge you all to please, once we are done with the lecture people, I want you to learn and revise every single concept using mind maps. Okay, once you are done with that, absolutely easily you will fetch beautiful marks in corporate and economic law. This is what we're going to do for every single chapter. Cool people? Sure. Now let's come to the last topic of insider trading. After we are done with the last topic, we are going to quickly revise. Then people will be solving past year's question paper. Then we are going to solve expected questions, and then we will end this chapter. Okay. So tomorrow we are going to start with the takeover code. Beautiful chapter. Okay people. Chalo. One second. Let me take a sip of water. Okay. Now comes people, institutional mechanism for prevention of insider trading. Let's understand this. What question does this topic tries to answer? What systems and rules should a company have inside to stop insider trading? Which means what? If a company doesn't want anyone to indulge in insider trading, what system it has to employ in its company, we are going to understand. Now, what is the difference between this and code of conduct? Over here people, how should insiders behave when they have got access to UPSI, we understood. But over here, now it is the role of a company. Now it is a role of a company. What system has it? What system is it going to implement? What system it is going to design so that UPSI trading doesn't take place? This is what we are going to understand. Over there, it was on part of insiders, designated people, and before that is code of fair disclosure. How should a company disclose this information to the public? How should a company disclose this information to the public? that we understood in code of fair disclosure. But over here, people, code of conduct, how should insiders behave when they have got access to UPSI? This question is what the topic answers. But over here, people, but over here, what system the company has to build so that insider trading does not take place? This is what we're going to understand. Okay, chalo. Number one is, people, internal controls by CEO. What is the meaning of this? The CEO is responsible for implementing internal controls to comply with the insider trading regulation. Which means what? Let's say, take an example of Goldman Sachs. When the meeting was conducted, you should have tapped the phone of all the directors. You should have informed them that the moment you disclose this information to anyone, you will be penalized. This is the meaning of internal control, right, people? So easily you cannot share this information to anyone. You have to make sure that directors and everyone inside are very, very scared of indulging in insider trading. If you have such an internal tight control, which means what? Company's internal control is strong. Then, people, Rajat Gupta would never have shared this information to Rajaratnam. Cool? Okay. Number two is, people, audit committee's role. Now, people, the audit committee reviews the company's compliance with the insider trading regulation and the effectiveness of internal control. So, audit committee is responsible for ensuring that whatever rules and regulations we have studied, okay, whatever rules we have studied, audit committee will check that audit committee will check has these rules been properly followed or not. Audit committee will check. Number two, audit committee will also check the internal control that you have built, how strong or how effective is this internal control. Audit committee will check and recommend changes if required. Right, people? Number two. Number three is inquiry procedures for information leak. Company must have a proper policies and procedures for investigating UPSI leaks. For example, if unpublished price information has been leaked by the insider, company should in its policy have a clear process as to if at all the information is leaked privately to a person. Now, how should this be investigated to find out who is the person behind all this mess? Company should have in its policy. That means what? In one sentence, company should have a clear policy as to how the fraud, how the insider trading should be investigated in a company. Very easy. Next, people, whistleblower policy. Which means what? Whistleblower policy means what? It is not that whistle. No. Okay. Whistleblower policy means if any employee or any peon or any person who have directly or indirectly have witnessed Rajat Gupta sharing UPSI with Rajaratnam by overhearing a conversation, now the employee has got two options: whether to shut his mouth or to go and tell this to the company head that this director has been involved in the UPSI. Now, if the person doesn't tell anything, he might not be in danger. But if at all this person complains about the director to the company head, there's a 100% chance that this person will be removed and kicked off from the company if he tells that. Right, people? So whistleblower policy is that policy which stops victimization against the person who is revealing the information about the director. Which means what? Tomorrow, if any employee, let's say if I was a CS in Goldman Sachs during that time when I was 7 years old, okay, when I was a CS, if I would be CS in Goldman Sachs, and if I see Rajat Gupta is secretly sharing information to Rajaratnam that Warren Buffett is going to invest $5 billion. Now, if I report this to the company head, I should not be removed from the company. Number one, my name should not be revealed as to who is the one who gave complaint about Rajat Gupta. My name should not be revealed. This is what we call it as whistleblower policy. A policy must be in place to encourage employees to report suspicious activities or leaks. Okay, suspicious, which means what? I'm not sure that Rajat Gupta is sharing this information to Rajaratnam. I'm not sure, but still, even if I am suspicious, I should be encouraged to give complaints fearlessly. Right, people? And last is cooperation from intermediaries and fiduciary, which means what? Intermediaries and fiduciary, like stockbrokers, mutual fund, and clearing houses, everyone, auditors, everyone should cooperate in the investigation process. This is what this point is trying to say. That's it, people. Very easy. So 5 points. Number 1 is, let's understand this using mind map. 5 points. Number 1 is internal control should be implemented by a CEO, and CEO is responsible for implementing internal controls to comply with insider trading regulation. Now, people, who oversees whether internal control system is strong or not? Audit committee will oversee if the internal control system is strong or not. Plus, audit committee will also check if rules and regulations have been complied by the company or not. Next is, there should be a proper procedure and proper policy in place as to how the information leak should be investigated. Number 3. Number 4, whistleblower policy should be there in the policy to encourage employees to report suspicious or information leaks. And last is, all the intermediaries and the fiduciaries should cooperate during investigation in UPSI leak. That's it, people. That's it. Cool. So without wasting any time, people, let's quickly revise whatever we have studied till now. Trading plan. What is the meaning of trading plan? People, what I will do is take a break of 5 minutes, and in 5 minutes, people, I'm going to resume this lecture. Okay? Hey Siri, 5 minutes timer. people. Okay, okay, okay. So people. So now people, now tell me what are we going to do next? We are done with the revision people. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to solve past year's question paper. We're not going to solve all the questions. We're only going to solve those questions. We are only going to solve those questions that were asked in the exam of corporate economic laws from the chapter of insider trading. Cool people. So let's get started. So people, this is a paper of December 2023. This is a paper of December 2023. Okay, let's understand now. I have also marked where is the question. Yes. Well, this is from SEBI regulations. Okay, SEBI regulations, how to raise finance from the capital markets. So in this paper, no question was asked with respect to inside trading. No question was asked with respect to inside trading. An issuer cannot make a public issue or right issue of equity shares and convertible securities under certain condition. Explain the condition for a public issue or right issue of equity shares and convertible securities. You have to mention all those conditions that we have spoken in the chapter of how to raise finance from the capital markets. So in the attempt, now see, just see people, 7 mark question was asked. So in the attempt or December 2023, no question was asked with respect to insider trading. Okay. Now let's see the paper of June 2024. Let's see the paper of June 2024. Yes. This is the question of insider trading. Let's understand people. So, let's read this. A PSU, public sector undertaking, awarded two contracts. One in favor of Gammon Infrastructure Project Limited, GIPL, and another in favor of Simple Infrastructure Limited. Which means what? PSU has awarded two contracts to one company called as GIPL, to other company called as SIL. Okay. Ranjan was the CMD of GIPL. That means PSU, two contracts. Always draw the minor people. Always. GIPL. Number 2 is SIL. Ranjan was the CMD. Okay, sir. Next what? GIPL and SIL had entered into two shareholders agreement. Okay, some agreement, shareholders agreement, the agreement to purchase the shares which were terminated later on by GIPL board. Basically, these two companies have entered into some kind of agreement which was later terminated by GIPL. Number 1, contract terminated. Okay. Ranjan sold shares of GIPL before it was intimated to NSE, which means what? The transaction that you are cancelling, before you have, now once the transaction has been cancelled, you have sold the shares of GIPL. Now the problem is the information that you have cancelled the transaction has not been made to the public till now. So before the information was made public, you sold the shares of GIPL. Clearly, it shows that Ranjan was insider and he traded on insider trading basis. He traded on UPSI. Okay. Now UPSI was, people, what is the UPSI? UPSI is termination of PSU contract. Okay. Next, SEBI charged Ranjan as guilty of insider trading. Okay, obviously he deserves that. However, Ranjan took a plea that this was necessary as part of corporate restructuring to prevent GIPL parent company from going into bankruptcy. Which means what? Ranjan gave an excuse that I sold these shares as a part of some corporate restructuring like merger, amalgamation, demerger. I sold this as part of corporate restructuring to save my company from going bankrupt. My intention was not to make profit. My intention was to save the company. And people, do you think anyone would believe this? No. But people, in the question, just see the next line, which was factually found to be correct. Which was factually found to be correct. Now examine the issues. Is Ranjan an insider in this case? Obviously yes. What is his liability, if any? Now he would be liable to insider trading. Number one. What is the meaning of UPSI? You have to tell the meaning of UPSI. Are the charges of SEBI correct? So people, if the information is, now you have to answer this like a lawyer. Okay. If the information is factually correct, if Ranjan's intention was not to make secret profit, his intention was to only save the company, in that case he is absolutely correct. SEBI's charges against him will not be justified. SEBI's charges against Ranjan would be wrong. Reason is, was his intention to make secret profits? No. His intention was to save the company from going bankrupt. Now would you believe it? No. But in the question, in the last line, it was clearly mentioned, which was proven to be factually correct. So in that case, people, in that case, Ranjan will not be punished. His intention was only to save the company. Now people, obviously, if you are saving the company from going bankrupt, that means what? You are saving the stakeholders from getting ruined. Creditors, debtors, employees, laborers, everyone who are associated with the company, you are saving them by selling the shares of the company so that you can stop this company from going bankrupt. If your intention is so good, in that case, SEBI will not charge any penalty against you. Okay. Now people, I know this question you might not write as per your satisfaction, people, but remaining two questions, obviously your answers would be right. So this question was asked for 7 marks. People, such an easy question, people. 7 marks question was asked. Right, people? Now, this was which attempt paper? This was the paper of June 2024. Now let's see the paper of December 2024. This is a paper of December 2024. See people, describe insider trading as regulated under SEBI. You have to explain insider trading along with examples, and during that example, whenever you write such example, people, you have to mention my story of Goldman Sachs and Warren Buffett. That's it. Examiner will get impressed. What institutional mechanism are to be placed by a listed company to check, control and curb insider trading? People, last topic of insider trading, you have to just explain this, and you will easily get 7 marks, people. 7 marks. That's it. 3 marks objectives. We will come to that last. Okay. 7 marks, easy marks you are getting, people. What else do you need? Insider trading meaning you have to explain, and then institutional mechanism you have to explain. That's it, people. That's it. Such an easy. Now people, let me tell you one more thing before I will tell you that. let's finish one more question. Okay, this is a paper of June 2025. June 2025. Now, people, in SEBI regulations, insider trading is there. How to raise finance from capital markets is there. Takeover code is there. Now, people, it is not possible that question can be asked from all the chapters, because only 7 to 10 marks question can be asked. So every single question is a 7 mark, but obviously, which means what, only one chapter's question will be asked. Explain the obligations of target company and exemptions conferred under SEBI regulations. Now, people, this is not the question from insider trading. This is the question from the next chapter that we are going to understand. Okay, so this is how questions will be asked. It can be case study based question also. It can be theory based question also. Theory based question you will do absolutely well. This is my guarantee. I believe that all my online virtual students are going to do absolutely very well. But in case of case study based questions, I am going to teach you a beautiful art of how to write answers in the case study based questions. Okay, people. Now, before I end this session, I'm going to do two things. Number one, the reason why I have given you so many examples whenever I teach any topic is because in exam, there are a lot of people who might have written answers exactly like you, but not everyone might get the same marks, right, people? So now the question is, even though all of you have written the right answers, why would examiner give you extra marks? You tell me. Now, examiners will not pass everyone, right? So why would examiner give you extra marks? You have to think for yourself, and when you think for yourself, you will get an answer that my answer should be very, very unique. My answer should be very, very beautifully written. Now, when will your answer be called as a beautiful written answer? When you mention practical examples, when you educate the examiner. Examiner, when he reads your answer, he should realize that this student really knows the stuff. This student has got practical knowledge. That is the reason why he is giving examples. You should create that impression in the mind of the examiner, and just see, people, I'm 100% sure that if you follow this approach while writing answers, I'm going to teach you how to write answers also. When you follow this approach, I am 100% sure that nobody can stop you from scoring an exemption in corporate economic laws. This is my promise. Okay. So now we are done with the question answers. Now, people, the last thing that we are going to do is, what are the expected questions that is going to be asked in the exam? We're going to understand that, and then, people, we will end this session. Okay. Explain the disclosure requirements under insider trading regulation. Direct question can be asked in the exam. You have to mention general disclosure, initial disclosure, continual disclosure, disclosure by connected people. What is the objective behind why this rule has been made? You have to include all these keywords and points. Okay. Number 2, state the principles under Code of Fair Disclosures. The question is asked, you have to mention prompt disclosure, investigation officer, fair response, no selective disclosure, record keeping. People, if you ask me what question can be asked in the exam from this chapter, I think it is this question, Code of Fair Disclosure. Very, very important. Okay. Next is, people, question number 3. What is insider trading under, what is trading plan under SEBI regulations, and how does trading plan work? This is also an expected question that can be asked in the exam with respect to trading plan. A trading plan is a pre-decided strategy made by an insider to buy or sell company securities in a lawful and a transparent manner, ensuring no misuse of UPSI. Now, how it works? First, to submit the trading plan to the compliance officer. The compliance officer will publicly disclose once he has approved your trading plan. Number 3, you have to wait for a 6 months cooling period. Then stock exchange notification. Purpose is to allow genuine trading by insiders without violating insider trading laws. That's it, people. That's it. Now, next is describe the code of conduct by designated persons. This is also, people, another question that I think might definitely come in your exam for 7 marks. It's a long topic, I am 100% sure that this question can come or this question can come in your exam. Trading plan. Okay? Just go through this, people. I have included every single thing in the study material. First of all, my notes are there. You will get my mind maps. Number 3, you also have my question answer. That's it. If you go through all these 3, then we are done. Okay? Chalo. Now describe the key elements of code of conduct for designated people. Formulation, who is covered, trading window, pre-clearance, execution, reporting, inside information, and sanctions. You have to mention all these 7 to 8 points. That's people. Last is, this question has already have come in exam. So I would want you to not to take the risk that this question has been asked in the exam in the last attempt. Possibility is that this question might never be asked in the next attempt. No, you cannot think like that, people. I want you to learn this 5 to 6 points, people. That's it. What does it take? How much time does it take to learn 5 or 6 points? Okay? Do not take any risk. Don't take any risk. Next is, explain the importance of trading window mechanism and pre-clearance. You have to mention the meaning of trading window. Only open when UPSI is public. Closed during sensitive periods for the insiders. Closure during financial results, mergers, major announcements. Trading window is closed. Reopening minimum 48 hours post public disclosure. People, this is important. Okay? The trading window, when will this be opened? When the information is made public, suddenly trading window will not open. You have to wait for 48 hours and then only trading window will open. And then people, pre-clearance, you have to get a pre-clearance of all the trades from the compliance officer. And then people, you have to declare that I don't have any UPSI. That is why I am dealing with this shares or securities. Right, people? After that, we are done. That's it, people. That's it. Right? So if you have got any doubt, any single doubt, it might be a super intelligent doubt, it might be little non-intelligent doubt. Do not hesitate to drop all your doubts in the comment section. Okay? For me, every single doubt is same. Every single doubt is same. If you have a doubt, obviously you might have thought something. That is the reason why you are asking doubt. Okay? So as a teacher, my job is I'm going to resolve all your doubts. I'm going to give equal weightage to every single doubt. For me, every single doubt is important. So don't worry at all, people. Any doubt you have, immediately drop in the YouTube comment section. Okay? As soon as possible, I'm going to ensure that all your doubts are resolved in the best way possible. So that's it, people. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. We're going to start with the takeover code. Okay? Until then, people, eat well, sleep well, study well. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.